Oh, is it a nick? I think it's given. Warner shaped as if he had hit the ground, but no. Naseem Shah, the 16-year-old, gets his first Test wicket.
Very close. Oh dear, I think he's over.
Oh, the irony. He's lost on no one.
Now, the no ball controversy reared its head again today. It was 21, as someone said, in the first two sessions that went unchecked. You've covered this ground before. It must be frustrating, but what's your solution? What would you like to see done?
Well, something, at least something, because it was exactly the same first test of the last summer. Ishant Sharma, I think it was 30 odd for the day that he'd bowled, for the innings that he'd bowled by himself, that it had just not been called. And if you look at some of the footage and stuff that we've seen today, it's not like they're just over the line or on the line. There's some that are 4 or 5 inches over the front line. So it just goes to show, or say to me, that the umpires aren't even looking at the front line. They ended up, I think they called 2 today, interestingly, from the same umpire. Illingworth called 2 of them and none called from Kettlebury's end. So, look, it's obviously a directive from above for them not to worry so much about the front line and only more worry about the decisions down that end. But I just don't think that's right. And I understand the reason that they're not calling a lot of them. Obviously, if they call a no ball and a wicket falls that's shown not to be a no ball, they can't change it. So I know they're under pressure with that, but I think, and I'm not blaming the umpires at all. I think, because I don't think if they had it their way, I'm sure they wouldn't want to be making 21 incorrect decisions a day, which is what they've done. And that's how I sort of put it to them on air today. I think they're marked on every decision that they make. A no ball decision is still a decision. So if you look at it that way, they've made 21 incorrect decisions today, and that's not good enough as far as I'm concerned.
Is it as simple as adding that responsibility to the third umpire and just saying each ball he has to check?
I know they've tried that, and I've said that forever, because the cameras are actually set up side on anyway. They're set up for stumpings and run-out decisions anyway, so the camera's there. And you can't tell me it's going to take any amount of time. It would take half a second to have it relayed straight into the on-field umpire. But who knows? I know they've tried it. It'd be interesting to hear what the umpire's feedback from it was. But you'd think that'd have to make the on-field umpire's job easier as well if the no ball front foot was taken out of their hands.
Century 22, and the journey he's been on, it's maybe his most meaningful.
I heard you saying recently that you spent a lot of time with David Warner over in the UK. I was wondering if you could give us a bit of an insight into his sort of state of mind over there, and how do you think he sort of bounced back, obviously, today? Yeah,
I did spend a lot of time with him just before and leading into the World Cup and right through the World Cup. We were like twins, actually. We spent plenty of time together, whether it was breakfast, lunch, dinner, training sessions, whatever it was. And I knew it was going to be hard for him coming back into international cricket. I knew the crowds over there were going to be, against him and Smithy. And I've known David for a long time. Obviously, I played with him for a couple of years and have got to know him really well over the years. So it was good to spend the time with him, talk a lot about batting, and I got a really good grasp and understanding of the way he goes about his cricket, probably, and what that's developed into from when I retired from the game. So look, he's a really deep thinker about the game. People mightn't sort of think that about him. They might think he's brash and goes out and just hits the ball hard and doesn't think much about his game. But he puts a lot of time and thought and effort and planning into the way he goes about his batting. So today, to see him do that after what he went through during the Ashes, 95 runs in 5 matches over there, probably an absolute career low for him as far as Test match cricket was concerned. To see him come back to Australia and want to prove a point, I think that's the thing with him. We know that he's a tough, determined little character that likes to try and prove people wrong where he can, and to get back out on the big stage in Australia in front of the home fans and score 100 first up was fantastic for him. Says a lot about his character, I reckon.
You have been a real advocate of his and a vocal fan. 22 Test hundreds says it all, really. But what is it about him that draws you to him?
He's a competitor. He's a winner. He's got that attitude about him. He's the sort of bloke you want to play with. I've said that right from the start. I would have loved to have played more cricket with him when I was playing well. The last couple of years I played with him, I wasn't playing very well, so I would have loved to play more cricket with him. And that's one thing I think that the public probably don't understand, don't see that sort of side of Davey. And he hasn't helped himself probably along the way with a lot of that stuff, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of his teammates in there as well that, in the heat of battle, they want him on their side. And, that you want a team full of those guys. And, some of my closest mates from the game, you think about Langer and Hayden and those guys, and Gilly and McGrath and Moore, and they're exactly the same. When things get tough and tight, you want those blokes in your corner, and Davey's certainly one of those.